I've always had a fascination with the unknown, a peculiar desire to test the boundaries of my courage. This particular night, my curiosity would lead me down a dark and winding road, a path I would never forget. It was a moonless night, the kind where the darkness swallowed everything in its path. I was driving alone on a desolate stretch of highway, the hum of my engine the only sound breaking the silence. The road stretched out ahead like a never-ending ribbon, surrounded by a dense forest that seemed to swallow the edges of my headlights. As I drove deeper into the night, my thoughts began to drift. I pondered the mysteries of the universe and the stories of supernatural encounters people shared around campfires. I never truly believed in such things, dismissing them as mere tales to send shivers down one's spine. But as I would soon discover, sometimes the line between reality and the supernatural can blur. Suddenly, a glimmer of light appeared in the distance. It was faint at first, barely visible, but it steadily grew brighter. I squinted, trying to make out the source of the light. It appeared to be a figure, a person standing at the side of the road, waving for help. Instinctively, I slowed down and pulled over. I couldn't leave someone stranded in the middle of nowhere, especially on a night like this. I rolled down my window and the cold night air rushed in, sending a chill down my spine. The person who stood there was a woman, shrouded in darkness. Her face was hidden by the hood of her long, tattered cloak. Strands of hair peeked out from beneath her hood, dancing in the wind like dark serpents. "Thank you for stopping," she said, her voice soft and trembling. "I've been waiting for so long. My car broke down and I have no one to call for help." I couldn't see her face clearly, but her voice was filled with desperation. Against my better judgment, I offered to give her a ride to the nearest town. She gratefully accepted, and I unlocked the car doors, allowing her to slip into the passenger seat. As she settled in beside me, I finally got a glimpse of her face. Her eyes were strikingly beautiful but held a haunting sadness within them. Her skin was unnaturally pale and a sense of unease crept over me. I chalked it up to the eerie atmosphere of the night and continued driving. She introduced herself as Ilara and thanked me repeatedly for my kindness. Her story was a tragic one, filled with loneliness and heartache. She claimed to be returning home after a long absence, and her car had broken down just a few miles from where I found her. We conversed during the drive, and despite my initial unease, I began to feel a strange connection to Ilara. Her presence was both captivating and unsettling, like a moth drawn to a flame. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to her than met the eye. As the miles passed, Ilara's demeanor shifted. She became increasingly somber, her words taking on a melancholic tone. She spoke of lost love, of betrayal, and of the pain that had haunted her for years. I found myself drawn into her story, empathizing with her sorrow. Suddenly, she asked me to stop the car. We were in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees on both sides. I hesitated, glancing around nervously. "Is something wrong?" I asked. She turned to me, her eyes locking onto mine. "I need to show you something," she said, her voice low and hypnotic. Against my better judgment, I parked the car on the side of the road. Ilara stepped out, and I followed suit. She led me into the woods, the darkness swallowing us as we ventured further from the safety of the car. I couldn't see where we were going, but I trusted Ilara implicitly. It was as though I had fallen under her spell, unable to resist her allure. As we walked deeper into the woods, I noticed strange markings on the trees, symbols etched into the bark with what appeared to be blood. My heart began to race and a sense of dread washed over me. Finally, we reached a clearing. In the center stood a gnarled tree, its branches twisted and contorted. Ilara approached the tree and began to chant in a language I couldn't understand. Her voice echoed through the stillness of the night, sending shivers down my spine. Suddenly, the ground beneath us trembled, and a dark, ominous presence filled the clearing. I could feel it, a malevolent force that seemed to seep from the very earth itself. Panic surged through me, and I tried to turn and run, but my legs wouldn't obey. Ilara turned to me, her eyes glowing with an eerie light. "I need your help," she whispered, her voice no longer soft and trembling but commanding and powerful. "I need your life force to complete the ritual." Before I could react, she raised her hand, and a surge of energy coursed through me, draining my strength. I screamed in agony, but the sound was drowned out by the unnatural howling of the wind. As my vision blurred, I realized the horrifying truth. Ilara was no ordinary woman. She was a creature of darkness, a being that fed on the life force of unsuspecting travelers. I had fallen victim to her seductive trap, and now I was powerless to escape. The last thing I saw before darkness claimed me completely was Ilara's hauntingly beautiful face, twisted into a malevolent smile. I had ventured into the unknown, seeking the thrill of the supernatural, and in the end, I had become a part of it. In the depths of that cursed forest, my story joined the countless others, a cautionary tale of the dangers that lurk in the darkness of the night.